my friends, and welcome to episode 114 of the KISS Army Nation podcast. I'm one of your hosts, Pasquale Veri.
And I am Claudio Spera. Welcome to the show, everyone.
If you saw on our next guest KISS cosplay photos online, I'm sure you'd all want to meet her. Well, KISS Army, this is your chance to meet Beck. But on this episode, we're going to do something a little different. If our fan profiles have proven anything, is that no matter where you're from, no matter our gender, our religious and political affiliations, our sexual preferences, our ages, or our musical interests, KISS fans have so much in common. We're out to prove what KISS fans already know, that we have a lot in common.
So here's how it's going to work. So we're going to compare Beck's fandom to our own. So although not very specific, we hope to show how much we truly have in common, as Pas just said. So we're going to present 10 categories, and we're going to compare our similarities and differences for each of these categories. So, but first, it's an honor to have here in the show our dear friend, Beck. Welcome to the show, Beck.
Welcome.
Hi. Oh my God, it's lifestyles.
Very cool. You look fantastic.
Thank you so much.
Lovely
I'm
to
so
have
honored
you.
to be on your show.
Oh, we had to have you on, man. We saw your online pictures and dressed as KISS, man. You look positively radiating and beautiful. We had to have you on.
Aw, thank you so much.
All right, so let's just get into this. So category number 1, musical influences. What were your musical influences from a young age? Claudio.
Okay, so there's always been a lot of music at my place. As you know, when I was a little kid, I was living down in Buenos Aires in Argentina, and coming from an Italian family, my dad used to listen to a lot of opera, and stuff. But on the other side, my mom, she was a rocker. She used to listen a lot of rock and pop, and I remember, I was really, really hooked into that kind of music early on, and if you were to ask me musical influences, there was a lot of rhythm and blues, on the radio at that time, and on vinyls too. And then I jumped right away into classic rock. I was into Zeppelin, Purple, AC/DC, and of course, towards the end of 70s, 78, 79, I jumped into KISS. So I said that. To me, it's always been very kind of direct. So I never experienced any other kind of genres, but it was basically rhythm and blues and rock and roll and classic rock. Yeah, that was my thing.
Okay. For me, it's interesting because my musical influences stemmed from KISS. So that was my first band, my first introduction to rock music. And it was interesting because I was only listening to KISS. And my friends were going, come on, there's other music out there. Try something different. And I remember my cousin for Christmas gave me a April Wine record, The Greatest Hits. And I totally fell in love with it. So then after April Wine, I got into Van Halen. I got into more different types of rock music. And then in the 80s, I was getting into dance and Depeche Mode and Duran Duran and stuff like that.
Oh, look at that.
Oh, yeah. It was very diverse. And it was interesting because in the 70s, I was into rock and KISS. I checked out in the 80s. Then I was into pop and dance music and stuff in the 80s. And thank God I got back into KISS in the late 80s and back into rock. But yeah, my influences definitely stemmed from KISS. So let's see what we all have in common. Rebecca, how about you?
All right. So my parents are old. So, you can probably see behind me, there's Elvis.
Oh, yeah?
So I grew up listening to, Elvis, Little Richard, Chuck Berry, Bill Haley, Buddy Holly, Roy Orbison, the Turtles, the Beatles, the Stones, Bee Gees, ABBA, all that jazz. So 50s to 70s music mainly. We still listen to the same radio station as we did about 20 odd years ago, and they still play the oldies, which is awesome. But actually, my biggest influence when I was a kid was actually MJ. So I had already known two of his songs without actually knowing who he was until 2009 when he announced the This Is It tour. And I remember watching it on TV, and I was 10 going on 11 at the time. And like, as soon as I saw him, the first thing that popped into my head was Big Legend. And I was like, I gotta find out more about this guy. You know, I was like, oh my God, he had immense talent. He is sorely missed. But I actually remember 3 months later, he passed away, and I remember watching it all unfold on TV, and I remember watching the memorial on TV as well, and I just could not process discovering him 3 months earlier, and then boom, he's gone. And I'm like, what?
Yeah, what happened here? Yeah, I can imagine. Oh my goodness. And how about KISS? So when did KISS got into the picture?
So KISS, so I had already known some of KISS's music, mainly their biggest hits via the radio. But I don't know, I always thought that they were tough heavy metal dudes in makeup. But like, I didn't dislike them. I just thought that the music wasn't for me as a kid, even though I did like their biggest hits that I did hear on the radio. But otherwise, I remember scrolling through the Clock app in October 2020, and I saw the snippet of the Tom Snyder interview, and it just clicked. Like, I just fell in love with Ace's personality.
Yeah, of course.
I was like, oh my God, I gotta get into
KISS. I love it. You know, the amazing thing is that, you know, it's, and I love that, you know, Pasc, you came up with this approach for the fan profile, because we come from different places, you know, different ages. But as you said, you know, we have so much in common, and Beck's story is amazing. You know, look at this. So MJ, and then, you know, jump into KISS. This is amazing. Yeah, Elvis, you know, amazing. So let's go into number 2 about life experiences. Okay, so what was it like growing up as a KISS fan? You know, either growing up or going through life as a KISS fan. So Pasc, I'll start with you this time.
Ooh, my childhood wasn't easy. I was voted most likely to go to prison. I cared about nothing and no one. I was doing horrible in school. I used to be a bully, you know. But, you know, the prognosis for a kid like that kid is going nowhere. But the only thing that kept my head above water was KISS. And everybody was telling me, Pasquale, you have to change your ways. You're going nowhere. Your life is going nowhere. So I chose to discard KISS and change my life. And it was when I went to the Hot in the Shade tour, when that logo came up, that I realized that in my childhood, KISS wasn't my damnation. They were my salvation. If it wasn't for them, I truly wouldn't be where I am today. And now you're looking at a person who hated high school and is now a high school teacher. So that's because of KISS. And I remember, you know, the kids at the time telling me, you know, KISS sucks, and why are you a KISS fan? And I got all of that. But even then, I was strong enough in my convictions to believe in something. And to this day, KISS is part of who I am. It's part of my life. I couldn't imagine a life without KISS. They've afforded me so many opportunities as an adult because what I went through as a child. They're, you know, when I say that they are my passion, they are more than my passion. They are my life. Claudio, how about you?
Well, every time we look back in time, I have to make reference to my previous life in Argentina, right? So, and I know that I've done it in the past, but you know, I jumped into KISS '79, and we were not exposed to a lot of KISS stuff in South America due to political reasons. But I remember that even jumping into KISS in '79, we were, and I say we, me and my friends, whoever was a KISS fan, we were like the outcasts. Okay, so because you know they were deemed as clowns, you know, the music was not serious, and at that time it was compared, you know, against Queen and some other big bands. But so yeah, it was a lot of I have to say, you can call it disrespect, or being, again, as I said before, an outcast. But at the same time, me being attached to the band, it gave me a sense of belonging. It gave me a sense of family. Okay, so me and my friends, whoever were big KISS fans, we jumped into it, full throttle. So it was not like, yeah, I like this song, I don't like that song. No, we were like everything, Dynasty and Unmasked at that time. And then we went back into the catalog. So yeah, it was really, really interesting. So we were fighting against, the streamline of radio. In the radio, they were not, broadcasting any KISS at all. So it was more like a cult band. And I loved it because, we were unique. We were different from the rest. So that was really, really interesting. Beck, how about you?
As a kid, I was pretty weird, quiet. I was pretty bad at everything. Kids used to bully me a lot. And I didn't have any year friends in year 7, unless you count a pied butcher bird, which I hand-fed my croissants. The principal that we had back then, she was a fucking bitch. She hated birds. And she used to scare him away while I was just sitting by myself at the lunch tables, because the kids around my grade were bullying me, and I had no interest in the younger kids. But yeah, so that's why I was by myself. But like, the bird always came back, which I don't know. I guess I don't know what to say. But actually, high school was even better for me, because I started discovering more of who I am, and I've sort of figured out that I was an old soul ever since I was pretty young as well. But like, I just didn't realize it until I just grew older, and I'm like, maybe I am an old soul, or maybe it's because the way I was raised. I always wished that I was born earlier, so that I could experience the simpler times. And obviously I love older music and the style and all that. As you can see, I'm sort of sporting a bit of 80s neon.
And how did KISS come into this picture?
How did KISS come into the picture? Just one night, late 2020, scrolling through the Clock app, aka TikTok, saw a snippet of the Tom Snyder interview, and I fell in love with Ace's personality, and I'm like, I got to get into KISS, and I knew who they were, but like, I guess they just came into my life at the right moment. And I've sort of changed since then as well. I've become more creative as well, because KISS are walking masterpieces.
Exactly. Yeah, that was my next question. What changes in your life, came after, getting to know KISS, and you can tell already. Yeah.
But that's the point, right? KISS has really changed our lives in so many ways. It's just incredible. You talk to any KISS fan, it's always the same thing. KISS is a big part of our lives and a big part of who we are and the changes that we've gone through in our lives. It's just incredible. Yeah, and the beauty is that it doesn't matter at which stage in your life it comes. It doesn't matter. It doesn't have to be early on. When you're a kid. Look at Beck. So no matter where or when it comes to you, it's kind of an inflection point. Yeah. So definitely.
I actually regret not being a fan earlier. I'm still beating myself up for it. But as the saying goes, better late than never. Exactly.
Beautiful.
Yeah. All right. Let's go into category number 3, KISS-related events. What were your top 3 most memorable KISS experiences? Claudio.
Well, here I'm gonna mix this one with another thing that we're gonna be talking later. But if I have to pick 3, I have to say that the first time I saw them on TV back in 1979, that was the video for "I Was Made for Loving You" and "Sure Know Something." That definitely changed things for me forever. Okay, so that was incredible. I remember sitting with my family, and it was around Christmas time. And when I saw those guys, I had listened to the song on the radio, but when I saw them like superheroes, you know, playing music and with all, you know, the costumes and the effects and everything, I was hooked for life. So that's a moment that I will never forget in my entire life. Then, of course, you know, the first time I saw them live in '94, but we're gonna get into that later on. And then, if I have to pick some other moments, it's when I saw them at Cobo Hall. So we all know what Cobo Hall means in history. So to me, being there in that venue where Alive was recorded and so many, you know, legendary shows took place, that was a moment I will never forget in my life. And then, of course, you know, we're going to talk about KISS-related events or, you know, the cruise, of course, you know, the KISS cruise. It's something unbelievable. And hopefully, you know, Beck, if you have the chance, you know, next one, if you haven't been there to go, that's something that you cannot miss. And I've been to 3, but I have to say that the latest one that we were there together, on KISS Cruise 11, that was a memory I will never, you know, forget. That was amazing, sincerely amazing.
Yeah. No, for me, if anybody knows me, it's like, you know, I had to remortgage 3 times to maintain my KISS passion, you know, because every time it's a KISS event, it's a once-in-a-lifetime experience. Well, there's so many different once-in-a-lifetime experiences with the band. And that's the amazing thing about KISS. But for me, my life-changing event was definitely the 1979 Dynasty show. When you know, I got into KISS in 76, 2 years later, 3 years later, I saw them in concert for the first time. And to see the band rise up from the floor and seeing them in front of me, I'm in the same building as KISS. It changed my life forever. They were in my blood. They were a part of who I was from then on in. Whether I checked out or not, they were always part of my life. For me, definitely that show. And again, when I checked out, and then I saw them again in '89 with Hot in the Shade, that once again reaffirmed my conviction that they weren't my damnation, they were my salvation as a kid. So those 2 concerts for me were life affirming. And the rest of it was just adding on to my amazing life experiences with the band. And with each experience, I learned something about myself because I got to know so many KISS fans from literally around the world. And when you meet people and you want to listen to their stories and learn about them, in doing that, you learn about yourself.
Yeah.
So my first big event where I got to meet fans from around the world, obviously KISS Cruise 1. A life-altering experience for sure. That's still with me today, you know, absolutely amazing experience. And I gotta say that for me, it's become, and we said it before, it's no longer about KISS anymore. The KISS events are a bonus to the people around us and meeting KISS fans. And every time we go to a KISS event, we meet new people. Or like Beck, we see her online. Imagine, you know, Beck meeting you in person after we do this. It's like we already have a bond and a connection from this. And you're across the world. That's just mind-boggling to me, you know? So, and go on forever with these experiences because there's so many, but one commonality, it's the people.
Yeah.
Pure and simple. Beck, how about you?
All right, so my top 3 memorable KISS moments are, first of all, the KISS convention last year, and it was 2 days before I got to see and meet KISS for the very first time in Brisbane. It was September 4 last year, and I was dressed up as Ace. And it was that light up costume that I made. And it was the first time I've ever made a costume, and it took me 3 months to do. Yeah, so when I went to the KISS convention, you know, I just met all these KISS fans, and there was one guy that I met. He was dressed as Paul Stanley, and actually we both won Best Dressed that night.
Oh,
and
nice.
So we were standing in front of the KISS convention banner for what felt like 30 minutes, and there were just people just coming up to us asking us for photos.
Nice.
and we were joking about charging them like $5.
Charging for it. Love it.
$5. Yeah, and actually I won Best Dressed twice with that costume, because actually 20 days later there was an Elvis tribute show which was strictly dress up in whatever, and I was pretty much the only one dressed up. And if you've seen any of my posts, I actually so there was this interlude or intermission or whatever it's called. So there was a break between both sets of the Elvis show, and one of the things that we did was the limbo. I fell.
Oh, you did?
But here's the thing, I caught it all on video, and yeah, so I took like one wrong step out from like under the limbo stick, and I just fell, but like I sort of caught myself, and luckily I didn't leave a glittery imprint on the floor.
On the floor
so
of your
I
makeup.
basically like saved myself. I was like, oh shit. But no, I was okay. All I had was a bruised knee and a bruised wrist, and no, I just straight up laughed because I knew it was on video. And I still laugh to this day, even just thinking about it or just looking back, because I think Ace used to fall down from his 7-inch platforms a lot as well.
Yeah, exactly.
Which is pretty funny. So gravity didn't help, unfortunately. But yeah, so the other two KISS moments were obviously seeing the band in Brisbane and Gold Coast, and obviously meeting them twice as well, which I'll dive more into a bit later on.
So now if we move into number 4, this is more maybe straightforward, and maybe doesn't cope with our experiences in the past, but of course we're gonna give it a spin, about KISS albums. Okay, so Pascal, I'm gonna start with you. What's your favorite and what's your least favorite KISS album, and why?
Interesting, because this question is not as simple as it sounds. It is about our experiences, because it's because of our experiences that we got into a particular album.
Yeah.
And for me, I remember being in the laneway and KISS talking, and kids were talking about the Demon and the Star Child, the Catman. And I was always into horror movies in those days. I'm going, what are they talking about? And they told me it's this band KISS. Go check them out. Check out the record stores. The first thing I picked up was Destroyer, and that comic book cover with the band and the destroyed city behind them. It's like, it was so horror movie like. And then listening to the album Detroit Rock City with the car crash, the screaming children in God of Thunder, I was hooked. So, you know, KISS fans always say it. You ask us what our favorite album is, and it changes from week to week, day
that's
to
true.
day. That's absolutely true. And it's true for me as well. But if I have to choose an album, again, it's the album that changed my life. And that would be Destroyer. Absolutely. Now, the album that least affected my life, and I think for most KISS fans, I'm sorry, Carnival of Souls.
Okay.
I like some of the songs. I listened to that album, but in terms of history, it was never really a part of history. It was an aside, a blip, as we mentioned in a previous episode.
Yeah.
You know, I don't have much of a connection to that album. And I think if KISS paid more attention to it and maybe toured for it or whatever, it would have been a part of my life as a KISS fan. But for me, absolutely no connection there. And that's what it's about, right? Connections.
That's right. Exactly. Yeah. Well, in my case, even though, you know, my first exposure to KISS was through TV, as I said before, the first album that I actually had in my hands and give it a listen was KISS Alive. And with KISS Alive, again, that I think it also applies what you just said, Pas, that cover there, that superhero, you know, that smoke in different colors, and those guys they didn't seem to come, from this planet. So they were coming from somewhere else. And, the experience of having those songs live, I felt, immediately immersed into the show. It is as if I was there in the show with the explosions, with the people cheering and Paul with rapping and stuff. That to me, even today, even to this day, it's my favorite album of all time. And the least favorite, I also agree that it's about connection. In my case, it's Asylum. There's some stuff from the 80s that to me it feels disconnected to what KISS is all about. There's some good stuff, songwriting and stuff, but to me it didn't have the same impact as other albums in history. So yeah, I'll definitely go with Asylum. Beck, what about you?
Okay, Destroyer was the first album that I got, and I mean, favorite album wise, it sort of changes, but I'm probably going to stick with Destroyer, but it sort of changes. I mean, Dynasty and Unmasked are like really close seconds, as well as, Love Gun. And yeah, I actually listened to Alive and Alive 2 back to back earlier today. And, going back to Elvis, there was this thing recently where I think his nephew, or I can't remember who, he said that in Let Me Go Rock and Roll that Ace had X-rated guitar licks, and I actually agree. Like, it's you can definitely hear a sort of a 50s 60s influence.
Absolutely.
In Let Me Go Rock and Roll.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Least favorite, don't have any least favorites. I don't have most of the 80s KISS albums yet. I do have Carnival of Souls, but I haven't listened to that one yet.
Okay.
But yeah, no, otherwise no least favorite albums yet. I'm actually too nice to
I love it. I love
elite.
it.
Nice. See, now another simple question, but again, not so simple, right? Because again, it's about experiences. Category number 5, KISS song. So what's your favorite and least favorite KISS song? Claudio.
Well, I will have to go with Love Gun. And for the simple reason that every time I listen to that song live, I tear up. My eyes, go full in tears. I don't know if it's about the melody, if it's about I don't know what it is, the moment in the show. But even to this day, I've listened to that song live. I don't know how many times, but it gets to me. It gets to my heart. Straight there. It's unbelievable. I'm not going to go into the details of how big, musically it is, but to me, it's more about emotion. So Love Gun, definitely. And the least favorite, well, I have to pick one from Asylum. I don't know, songs like Raider for Love, sorry, and that stuff. I don't feel any connection at all, with that song, for instance. What about you, Pasc?
It's interesting because again, it's about connections, right? And for me, picking up that album Destroyer for the first time, the first song I've ever listened to was Detroit Rock City. And that will never change. That has always been my favorite KISS song to this day because of the attachment I have to that song, because it's what started it all for me. But in terms of the band, when the band is not into something, their hearts aren't into it, they're not very creative. And for me, my least favorite songs, anything from Gene in the 80s after Creatures of the Night. Okay. Or no, that's not after Lick It Up. There's some good songs on that. But his heart wasn't in the band anymore.
You can feel
it. And you could see it, you can feel it, you can hear it in his music. So why am I gonna have a connection to something that he had no connection to? It just doesn't. It didn't do it for me then. So anything from Gene after Lick It Up. Beck, how about you?
Regarding on no connection to 80s Kiss with Gene, do you think it's because of his acting roles in movies?
Absolutely. You do something, do it 100% or don't do it at all.
Yeah, yeah, I agree. Favorite Kiss song. It's so fucking hard.
It's hard. It's hard.
That's a tough one.
I know.
Don't make me do this. Okay. So I have I'll probably do favorite Kiss song of each of the 4 original members. I have a really soft spot for Beth.
Oh.
Yeah, like when I first heard it while listening to Destroy, I was like, oh my god, this is so sweet. Fangirl moment. But like when I learned that the song used to be called Beck, which is my nickname, I was like, oh my god, that's so cool. So yeah, so my favorite Peter song, Beck, really close second is Hard Luck Woman. But a favorite Gene song would have to be probably It's Going to Be Alright, which is a demo, I think, from Creatures of the Night.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Interesting.
Favorite Paul song?
Yeah.
Reason to Live.
Oh, nice. Okay.
Wow. That hits close to home for me. I'm not going to go into details. Yeah, so Reason to Live hits home. Great song. Favorite Ace song? What's up between Talk to Me, Shock Me, or Torpedo Girl?
Oh, there you go. There you go, the unmasked fan. There you go. Yeah. Beautiful.
I love his cover of A 2000 Man as well.
Yeah. He has some great tunes on Dynasty and Unmasked, definitely.
Definitely.
That was the top of his game. Yeah, definitely. Yeah.
Oh, definitely. And I also love his Fraley's Comet era as well.
Nice. Super. So now we get into your zone, Becky. So KISS cosplay, okay? So why do you think KISS fans like to dress up as KISS? So we're gonna go quickly, Pascal and I, but I think this is your question, big time. So, Pascal, what do you think? Why do we do this?
Oh, that's an easy one. Listen, we all have our insecurities, but when we put on a costume, we become a different person, a different character. It's not who we are. And those insecurities are just gone. Your inhibitions are gone. And you could be whatever you want. And no one will judge you because it's not who you really are. So KISS said it themselves, right? When they put on the makeup, when they put on the costume, they become characters. They become larger than life. And all those insecurities go out the window. And I feel the same way when I put on a KISS costume. And I've done Gene, Paul, and Ace. Never Peter yet, But I remember I went to a Halloween party at a bar close to my house with a friend of mine who wasn't a KISS fan. And I said, all right, Lisa, when we walk in there, just be ready. For what? Oh, you'll see. And the minute I walked into that bar, everybody clamored around me. Old ladies grabbing my butt. It was great. I don't get that looking like this.
That's right.
And you feel like a rock star. Why? Yeah. Because I'm impersonating somebody else. Right. It's just and I don't know. It's hard to explain, but it's just so liberating. To do that. And I've done it for parties. I've done it for expos. I've done it for concerts. And that was an experience. I did that. I was dressed as Gene at a New Jersey KISS concert. I couldn't get to my seat. People wanted pictures. I'm a nobody. But when you dress up as a member of KISS, you become a somebody.
Yeah.
And it's just, for me, it is such an emotional high, And I wish more people experience that because it's just incredible. Yeah. How about you, Claudio?
Well, I never had the chance to completely dress up, in full costume. Of course, I put makeup on, and I remember during one of the cruises, I dressed up like the Dress to Kill cover. But to me, it's fantasy, right? So to me, KISS is fantasy. So from the very first moment that you are exposed to the cover of any band, you mentioned that before, Beck and Pask. So a superhero, right? And I think KISS is the only band that can give you that possibility, you know, that freedom to be someone else. And in my case, to me, it's also kind of a connection to be part of something bigger. It's not only, you know, listening to the music. So if there's an event, you become part of the event. So you are one of the attractions. And I don't mean it, you know, to be a show off, but, you know, it's to go through the experience by being something different. Okay, not walking in, you know, as any mortal. So yeah, so that's to me, that's definitely a way of, as I said before, a sense of belonging. Okay, so you feel closer to the band when you dress up. Okay, so and when you make part of the celebration of this beautiful band. So Beck, in your case, so I'm so interested to get your take on this one.
Right. I think everyone has a bit of a creative streak in them, whether they'd like to admit it or not. And, you know, KISS, as I said earlier, they're walking masterpieces, and they are very innovative, you know, for their time, and they were very ahead of their time as well, you know, putting on the grease paint and not letting anyone else see them without the war paint. You know, it's about the whole mystique thing. And, you know, I love art. I love being creative. Dressing up as KISS, you know, I don't like, you know, when I dressed up as Ace, I kind of felt like Ace, but at the same time, I'm not trying to be Ace, you know, as a chick, you know, I have to, you know, make things my own, you know, that's why the V-neck is a bit deeper, or that's why I added a star or a little heart crystal here and there. You know, because I'm a chick, obviously I have to, you know, if you gotta flaunt it. But yeah, no, I'm always myself, you know. I don't want to be anyone else, whether or not I'm dressed up as KISS. I'm still me.
Yeah, it's still you, you know, you as Ace, you as Paul, you as Peter, you know, but it's still you, it's still Beck, you know.
Gene, yeah, Eric, you know.
That's right. Yeah. Enjoying life, you know, enjoying life and being part of something, you know, and beautiful. You know, let me tell you that all of the videos and pictures that I've seen from you look absolutely amazing, and you it's interesting because you give it a different spin. You do not try to replicate, you know, the costumes from a certain era. No. You know, you give it your own, you know, personality to the costume. It's beautiful.
Yeah, you know, thank you. That's why, you know, I did the whole neon thing tonight. And I also do glitter as well, as part of my makeup sometimes. And when I did Eric Carr's makeup for the first time, I found some glow in the dark face paint, and I was like, okay, so yeah, so maybe I would just try that. And I sort of have an idea in mind where once I do full face of every single member of KISS, I would do them in glow in the dark makeup, and I take photos of myself with the UV light shining in my face, and I'll see if I can do something in Photoshop and do a Creatures of the Night concept with the glow in the dark.
That's
stuff.
Awesome.
Yeah, and you know, KISS, you are free to express who you are and be comfortable with yourself as well, and do different makeup designs. You know, I once did a spade and a heart, sort of if Ace Frehley was a magician.
Right, okay. That's interesting.
Which I'll get to at the very end. It's a surprise. I have told Patrick about this, but yeah. So KISS, freedom of art expression, being creative. You know, it's and it's all about having fun as well.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
You know what's also true is that, yes, you become a different character, but it's also an extension of
Yes.
who you are, in my opinion.
Yeah.
In fact, I remember seeing pictures of you online. I go, I have to meet this girl. She just, you look amazing, but she sounds like an amazing
Aw.
person. And here we are, talking on this show today, and it's like you are absolutely what I expected, the real, genuine deal.
It is
A
true.
passionate person, a creative person, and we never met in person, but I consider you a friend because I feel like I have a connection to you because of those characters that you took on, because in my opinion, that was sort of like a lens into who you are.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, well, thank you so much, and well, I can only be myself because, and you can also only be yourself because there's one you, and that's what makes you unique.
That's right. That's what you want to be. That's right.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
All right. Let's move on to category number 7, something close to my heart, collecting. So do you consider yourself a collector? Why or why not? Claudia.
Yeah, there's, collecting in the KISS world, it's so huge, so many different layers of how big of a collector you can be. I don't know. I have the tendency to be kind of humble on this one. Do I consider myself a collector? Yeah, maybe, but I don't have a huge collection. So I got the stuff that has some big connection to my heart, and stuff that I like more than others. But I think I can consider myself a collector because of maybe of the amount of money that I spent on items. So then if there's one thing that I have to pick collecting, it's KISS stuff. Okay, but it's endless, as we all know. So if you want to be the top one or whatever, it's never going to end. It becomes a competition, which I think it takes off all the fun that it is collecting, right? So it's whatever makes you happy. So you go and get it. And but yeah, so that's maybe a long answer for a short question, but yeah. So I would say yes. What about you? Well, pass. So no question on this one, right? So listen, that's an easy answer.
No, it's not. No, it's not, because I can't stand it when people try to define a KISS fan, because you can't. There are literally millions of definitions of KISS fans because there are millions of people who like the band.
Yeah.
Am I a collector? Yes. Am I a collector of stuff? No. I am a collector of experiences, right? Like most of us are. So my collection is a reflection of my experiences with this band. When you look at my collection, you get an idea of who I am. And whether that collection is large or small, it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter, because we are the same. We are KISS fans, regardless of what we own. It's what's in our hearts that matter.
Yeah.
Beck, how about you?
Just a quick point to make on the previous question. Putting on KISS makeup is an absolute pain in the ass to do, and it takes an immense amount of patience.
That is so true.
But I do applaud KISS for doing this for 50 years.
Yeah.
Because no one else can do it as good as them.
Yeah.
And, and taking off KISS makeup is another thing in itself. I found that cold cream is the best thing as well.
All right.
And setting the grease paint, it also gets up your nose.
You know the stuff.
Yes, I do. Yeah, well, I try my best. I just look at a photo, and when I first did Paul's makeup, I definitely made sure that I did it on the correct eye. All right, so collecting, yes and no. I mean, I wouldn't consider myself a big collector. As Pask said, it's all what's in the heart and the whole experience thing. And, I totally agree. And, material stuff of KISS is just a bonus. I don't have a very big collection. I'm very happy with what I have, and at least half of it are gifts from other fans, which I'm eternally grateful for.
Mhm.
And I collect other things as well. Like actually, stamps is probably my biggest collection at the moment. It's not very big, but it's probably, over the years I've collected stamps that look really cool. And actually, KISS are releasing stamps via Australia Post. Some people have actually already got it, even though it's being released on July 25th.
Oh.
Oh, yeah?
So
Oh.
I am looking forward to that. I've reserved 2 little booklets of stamps.
Beautiful. Are you interested in any special or particular items? Like, are you into, I don't know, tour books or posters or vinyls or anything? Or is there anything
Whatever I can get my hands on.
Whatever you
I'd be
can.
very happy to add to my collection.
Okay.
I am a pretty picky collector.
Okay.
But otherwise, most of my stuff is just small items, shirts, whatever.
Okay, got it. Beautiful. And look, the next one, the next category here, it's what it's all about to me. The KISS Army, and I mentioned, Pask mentioned that before. The fact of having you on the show, it's proof that this is what it's all about. We're having so much fun. We haven't even talked about the band itself, so we don't need to. It's all about us. So, what are some of your experiences with fellow members of the KISS Army? So there's many, of course, depending how many kind of connections you have or events you've been to, but it doesn't necessarily have to be that. So look at this. So you're in Australia, we're in Montreal, and we're having so much fun and already creating this bond, as Pask said before. So it doesn't even have to be a face-to-face. So, Pask, tell us about some of your greatest experiences with KISS fans.
That's a tough one, because there's been so many.
Yeah.
Again, for me, it's going to these KISS related events and meeting new people and making new friends. Claudio, you and I are like brothers. We would never have met if it wasn't for KISS.
Exactly.
Even if it wasn't for this podcast. And that's, I feel, is the beauty of our show. It's about KISS, but they're sort of like on the side. It's again, like you said, it's about the fans. So when we go to a concert, a convention, a KISS cruise, KISS is, again, on the side. It's about meeting the fans. So to basically say, these are my top 3 experiences, it's impossible.
It is.
I think a testament of the experience are the friends that I have. And the majority of them are through KISS. I met my girlfriend of 9 years through the band. If it wasn't for the band, we wouldn't be together. That's, how many people can say that? That's for me, the most difficult question, because it is so layered in experiences that I can't just name a couple. I got to say, overall, the band, again, is a part of who I am. And my friends are a part of who I am because of the band. And thank you to the band for that.
Absolutely. Well said. There's nothing else that I can add to that. I the only thing that for my own, what I can say, it's of course our life will not be the same, without the band, because it's all about relationships, and so many friends, some closer than others, but so many experiences through the band and through the KISS Army. And I don't know if that happens with other bands. I'm not here just to judge, but I think what happens with the KISS Army is really unique. It is so unique because it comes from a unique band, and I don't think it's the same for other rock bands or whatever, fans. So what happens with KISS, it's this, as I said before, that sense of belonging, that when you meet someone on the street already with a KISS shirt, so you've already broken the ice. So you don't need to, introduce yourself or say, yeah, okay. You start from a different layer, with that person. And, again, what we're doing here on our show, it's proof that it's giving us a beautiful life. So let's celebrate and enjoy. Beck, what do you think about this one?
All right, just a quick point that I'm going to make with the previous question regarding collecting. I applaud the people who have massive collections because I have zero clue how the fuck they do it. And they are, I applaud them for being extremely dedicated, but at the same time, the size of your collection doesn't define you as a KISS fan.
Doesn't matter, not at all.
Exactly.
No, exactly. Yeah, no, yeah. Like I was like, oh my god, you have such a massive collection. Like they have the time, they have the patience, they have the money, and the extreme dedication to collecting, the art of collecting.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, with
what do you think about the KISS Army? Yeah, KISS Army.
KISS Army. Oh my god, they're so awesome, so fucking awesome. You know, some of my bestest friends, are from the KISS Army. You know, as you know, I'm a fan of other musicians as well, but there's nothing quite like the KISS Army. Fellow KISS Army members who are my friends, they just give me some of their spares or stuff that they don't want anymore.
Okay.
And as I said before, I'm eternally grateful. And I wasn't expecting anything either. But yeah, KISS Army is awesome. They are some of the best people you will ever meet.
But you also know Cece, right?
Yes, she's my bestie. I fucking love her. She's absolutely gorgeous.
Now you know Cece because of your love for cosplay and creativity. Yeah. She's exactly the same.
I love her Love Gun Girl and all the other makeups that she's done. And I've been on some of her lives on TikTok, and when she was doing the Vinnie Vincent makeup, I was like, you should put in white contacts to give off the dead mummy look, or red contacts, or one red or one white, or I can't remember exactly, but yeah, I sort of gave her the suggestion to put on contacts of that. Nice. But yeah, speaking of which, I still haven't done Vinnie Vincent's makeup yet, but that's beside the point.
Now, people who know me know I'm a big Star Trek fan, and recently I went to the Star Trek experience in New York State, Ticonderoga, and I was on the Enterprise, and it's like, what a feeling that was. But it wasn't obviously the real ship because the Enterprise doesn't exist. Imagine having a passion for something and then meeting the people behind that passion. In other words, meeting members of KISS, So tell us about your experiences meeting members of the band, Claudio.
Well, it's one of the highlights, and I will always feel grateful, for having the chance to have met, some of the members, most of them, but unfortunately I couldn't meet Eric Carr or Vinnie Vincent and Mark St. John, but for all of the others, yes, I did have the chance. Well, again, one of the most memorable experiences to be with them. If I have to pick one, back in '94, and I'll try to be brief on this one. Back in '94, when they first came to Argentina, I basically booked a room in the same hotel because I said, I can't miss this opportunity. And then I booked myself, and as a normal person, of course, I didn't have a KISS t-shirt at that time because I didn't want to be grabbed by security and missing the chance of meeting the band. Long story short, they played in one of the TV channels Sunday night, and then I'm staying there in the lobby, and of course, there's some movement there from the elevator, and some of the bodyguards came out, and here's Paul. Okay, so I'm just gonna go with Paul because then it's if not, it's gonna be too long. Here's Paul, and then I say I couldn't believe it. So as he walks by, I say, Paul, please, can I take a picture with you? And he said, well, no, sorry, I'm going for supper. He was going to a restaurant, within the Sheraton Hotel. And as he walks by, I said, I've been waiting for this moment for 15 years. Okay. So then the guy stops. He goes back to me. Okay. Puts his arm around my shoulder. And then we took a picture, of course. And they say, well, when I come back from supper, we're going to have a chat.
Wow.
And to me, that was something that it was out of this world. You know, to me, even to this day, that's the moment in my life. And then he kept his promise. When he came back, he came to me and he talked to me and he signed stuff, you know, and there was a girl who was singing, you know, every time I look at you to him, and he was so cool. That was fantastic. And then meeting the usual meet and greets are cool. You know, I love being with them. I had the chance to be with my family, which is extremely significant to me, on one of the KISS cruises, you know, when they had the makeup on and we had a photo with them. That was fantastic, because I passed, you know, the passion to my wife and my kids too. So we were all happy. But yeah, no, you know, the best memories. I never had, fortunately, I never had any down, you know, kind of that things didn't work as I expected. Even meeting Ace or Peter briefly, it was cool. It was cool. Tommy, so cool. Well, Bruce Kulick, it's a one of a kind, you know, so humble, so beautiful human being. So yeah, that was basically that's part of what makes us happy, and also meeting our heroes. Yeah. What about you, Pasc?
Okay, how can I explain this? I've often said that it's no longer about KISS, it's about the fans and our experiences. Key word, no longer. But there was a point where it was about the band. And when it was about the band, in a sense, it was building the foundation of what my life is today. So for me, the final moment of that foundation was at the 95 KISS convention. I felt that at that convention, I was celebrating my life with my heroes. Everything that I did in my life related to the band came together at that expo. And that is when it all clicked. That's when I realized it's about the people that are around me because of the people who are in front of me. Yeah. You know, checking out the KISS Museum, doing the drum clinic, the guitar clinic with Eric Singer and Bruce Kulick, the Q&A, their acoustic. I can actually say I got to sing with KISS. They did Heaven's on Fire, and there was a woman going around with a microphone in the audience. And I did a verse of Heaven's on Fire. It's like, wait a minute, I got to sing with the band. Oh my God, you know? and then when I got to meet the band at the end of the night, it was, oh my God, again, I'll say it again and again and again. It's a life-altering experience. Yeah. And that's where my life came full circle with the band. And that's when it became no longer about the band. Ironically, after I met them, I realized that it's about all these people around me. And this convention was a celebration of my life, because I've gone through a lot as a kid, and I've come so far, and it's because of those people that were standing in front of me on that stage. Just incredible. And Claudia, like you said, you know, we've all done meet and greets, and I've done the Gene Simmons vault and the Paul Stanley paintings. I did all of that. It will never compare to that first time I met them at that expo.
Right.
Beck, how about you?
Oh my God. Oh my God. I have so much to tell you. Oh my God. Okay. Where do I begin? Okay. Brisbane. First time I've seen KISS in concert. First time I've met them too. And actually, I was the last fan in line on purpose, because I was just really nervous. Like, I wasn't like, oh my God. I was just like, I was calm, but like, I was just really nervous. Like, and I was like really quiet and shy. So I was last in line on purpose. And the first person to talk to me was actually Eric, and he asked me who did my makeup, and I said I did. And the Gene gave me a bro fist, and I'm actually a little bit embarrassed because when I did that Kiss combo makeup, I actually screwed up a little bit on Jean's makeup. I added an extra point, and it wasn't until I looked back at the photos, I was like, oh shit, I fucked up. But he still gave me a pro fist. And then, you know, the photo was taken, and then Paul told me, thank you for coming. And I couldn't quite catch what he said, so I was like, wait, what? Sorry. And I felt like a total idiot. But yeah, like he said thank you for coming as if we were friends for years, and he hasn't seen me in a long time, even though that was my first time meeting him. And I was honored. Tommy, I think I did say hi to him, and before Kiss left the stage, Eric just produced this lolly out of nowhere, and he just gave it to him, and I'm like, thank you.
Oh wow.
Yeah, and then and as Kiss were leaving, there was sort of a bag mix up, and then I ended up getting my bag, and Kiss was sort of just walking out the door. And this is a bit of an embarrassing fangirl moment, because my mum and my mates were practically begging me to speak Hebrew to Jean. And
oh wow, that's interesting. Wow.
Yes. Well, yes and no. So sort of at the spur of the moment, he was already at the door, but I was like, Shalom Chaim, and he didn't respond, which I would put down to he didn't hear me.
Okay.
And I was like, okay, I will just shut up. This is awkward. But no, yeah, so the second time I met Kiss, there was sound check beforehand, and my mum from beforehand, she was still begging me to speak Hebrew to Jean. I'm like, no, he will get mad or annoyed or whatever, because I don't want to be that fan, if that makes any sense.
Yeah.
Actually, a little known fact that I've told very few people. My uncle went to school with Jean.
Oh yeah.
In Israel.
Whoa,
yeah.
Whoa.
So
Oh,
my
really?
mum's sister's husband. Because like I sent my mum some pictures of Jean when he was a kid with his parents, and she just sent it to her sister in Israel. And then my mum came back with, her husband went to school with Jean. And I'm like, bullshit, no he didn't. Until he mentioned his dad's name, which was Ellie, I think. And I was like, oh my god, he ain't kidding. But no, but yeah, so sorry, I'm back to sound check. I've had one of my mates begging me to speak Hebrew to Jean as well, and I'm like, nope, not gonna happen.
Ain't gonna happen.
Nope, not gonna happen. But yeah, Paul actually noticed my makeup, which was the colorful glitter makeup that I did for the Gold Coast. Good thing that I did Jean's side correctly this time. I almost screwed up again, but I was like, wait, no, it's gotta be like this. But yeah, no, so Paul was like, I was like, huh, what, me? And he was like, yes, you. I was like, oh my god. But yeah, I also asked my question at the Q&A thing as well. And at soundcheck, Eric was handing out drumsticks at the end, and I thought, he was just going back to his drum kit, getting his stuff and fucking off. And then he came back, and we were all excited and all that. And I was like, Eric, and then he just straight up handed me his last pair of signed drumsticks, and I was like, and that was probably like the only time I fangirl. Yeah, so I obviously thanked him, and then at the meet and greet, which was a couple hours later, I handed Eric a Kit Kat because he originally gave me the lolly, and it was originally a thank you for the lolly, and now it's for the drumsticks. And the running joke is that I gave Eric a Kit Kat because he's a Kiss Cat on a drum kit. So therefore, Kit Kat.
I love it.
Lame joke, but
Super cool.
Yeah, so Gold Coast meet and greet was a little bit rushed, but he thanked me for the Kit Kat, and actually, I have my sign here with me. So I gave my sign and my bag to one of the staff ladies to sort of mind, because I thought this sign was a bit too big to be in the photo, and then Keith, the fucking legend that he is, just yanked the sign from the lady, and he just handed it straight to Jean while I was handing Eric my Kit Kat, and I was like, huh, what? Oh, okay. Yeah, so I well, obviously photo was taken, and yeah, and that was it pretty much. Oh yeah, so that's my KISS meet and greet story. I'm seeing them again in Sydney in October. And I'm hopefully going to be meeting them again. And with in terms of photos, I noticed that in recent fan photos there is no piece of tape telling you where to stand. So hopefully photos will be back to normal here as well.
Yeah.
Which would be awesome. But yeah. So I am excited to meet them again, and I sort of have I have an outfit planned. I still have yet to make it and crystallize it, but it's going to be a bit of a surprise.
Nice. We want to see that. Awesome. Beck, so we're wrapping up, and so in relation to KISS, of course, it has to be KISS related. So what's on your bucket list, Pask, in your case?
Nothing, because basically anything that I wanted to do with the band, I've done it. You know, if an opportunity came, I jump on it, because listen, I'm 55 years old, and knock on wood, I have no regrets. And that's my ultimate life goal, is to live my life without any regrets. So I knew that if any of these KISS opportunities came my way and I didn't do it, I would regret it. And I couldn't. And I had to do these experiences at any cost. And I mean literally at any cost. You know, so when that expo in '95 came, I had to go. Those concerts, I had to go. The KISS cruise, I had to do them. You know, the meet and greets. Oh, I can't afford it. I'm going to find a way. I'm going to do it. So at this point, the last thing I'd want to do is the New York show. Yeah. And Claudio, we're going to do that. If I had anything on my bucket list, it would definitely be that, because I honestly believed that would be unattainable. That would be the one thing that I couldn't do at the very end, is go to that show, and my God, we're going to be there. So I've attained everything I've ever dreamed of with this band. Beautiful
said, man. Well, same here. So to me, the New York shows, that's what I always envisioned, you know, just to be with those guys, not only with the band, but with the fans, with the KISS family, celebrating, you know, what these guys have given us in 50 years. So we're going to be there, and I can't be happier, you know, just to share with you, Pask, and, you know, so many other, you know, KISS fans there. So same here. I did have some great experiences with them, and but again, it's all about celebration of what we did with the KISS Army. If I had to maybe kind of dream something, I would love to have a long conversation either with Paul or Jean, or with both, you know, just talking about, you know, the early days, and it just, you know, an informal kind of chat over a coffee or whatever, you know, if I ever meet them. But I will not pursue that, because I've done everything that I wanted. But if it ever happens, of course, you know, seeing them in a restaurant or something, maybe, you know, the chance to exchange in a couple of words with them, and tell them how significant they are and they've been for my life, you know, because it made me happy. So so that's basically where we're heading to. So what about you, Beck?
Oh boy, bucket list.
Yeah, it's tough, man.
Okay, so I have a few things. One of them, as I mentioned earlier, with the sign, I am hoping, but not holding my breath, to get my big sign signed by all KISS members living, but I would be happy with the current lineup as well, just so I can get it framed as well and make it look nice with the guitar picks and the streamers and all that, and the confetti. Meet Ace, Peter, and Bruce as well. I would absolutely love that. Speak Hebrew with Gene.
That's good. I love it. So
or
nice.
else my mum will never forgive me. She will not let me hear the end of it. Oh, you missed out, blah blah blah. And I'm like, I'm still a bit, embarrassed, but
it's coming in October. In October, it's coming.
In October, if I gather enough courage to do so. But yeah, there isn't. Another thing is with my Gold Coast photo with the sign, I had a small sign and flowers with me. I was planning on giving it to KISS as a gift on behalf of all of us fans as a thank you for all they've done. That didn't happen. Flowers are long gone, but I still have the small sign. So I'm hoping somehow I can give it to them. I don't know. But yeah, and there is another thing on my bucket list as well, but
you don't want to disclose it.
I can't say what it is.
Okay, we'll wait.
It's a surprise. It's a surprise.
We'll wait. I love it. We are and I'm pretty sure that Pasky will feel the same way. We so much love your energy. It's amazing. It goes through the screen. It's every time we're saying something and you're there, laughing and being so happy, and so glad to have you back on the show. It's been a tremendous pleasure. It's been so much fun. So we can't thank you enough. So thank you for being part of our show.
Thank you so much for having me on your podcast. I am so honored. It's awesome that you guys are on the other side of the world, because here it's almost midnight, and being a night owl is overrated. I don't tell people that I'm a night owl. Being a KISS fan, I tell people that I'm a creature of the night.
Nice.
I love it.
Beck, I got to tell you that, I'm on 4 hours sleep and lots of coffee, but after having talked to you and getting to know you, I didn't need coffee because I'm on such a high.
Yeah, because I just transferred my energy to you.
No, I'm telling you, no, for sure. Beck, I'm telling you, you are beautiful inside and out. You are a wonderful soul, a passionate, creative individual. And I know you live across the world, but I hope to one day meet you because, and our listeners need to watch the video to get the full effect of who you are, because like Claudia was saying, your energy comes across on this screen. And you are what it's all about. Meeting people like you, meeting passionate KISS fans. And if this episode proved anything, it's that regardless of where we're from and how far apart we are, we're all so close because of this band.
Exactly. And that is the good thing about the internet too, because you get to meet people, albeit virtually, worldwide. And, I hope that one day that I will meet you both too, because you are just both so awesome. And, I am extremely proud of you both as well for how far you've come. And I obviously loved hearing your stories as well. And your experiences.
It's been great. It's been great having you back. I can't wait to meet you. It's going to be fun. Yeah. Hopefully one day.
So Beck, thank you once again for being on the show.
Thank you so much for having me.
So to the KISS Army, we hope you enjoyed this episode. If you have any questions, comments, or ideas, please send them to talktome@kissarmynationpodcast.com. Until the next time, remember, never stop rocking. Take care, everyone. If you enjoyed this episode, like and subscribe on YouTube or follow us on Spotify, Automatic, iHeartRadio, or wherever you listen to podcasts. Don't forget to make yourself heard. Leave us a comment on Facebook, Twitter, or Instagram. See you all soon, KISS Army.